It's pretty mind-boggling when you stop and think about it. The sheer variety of life on this planet is just wow. I mean, from the tiniest microbe to a massive blue whale, there are millions and millions of different species. So how in the world do we even begin to make sense of it all? How do scientists possibly bring some order to this beautiful, chaotic mess? Well, that's exactly the question we're going to dive into.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with this massive planet of puzzles. Then we'll get into the science of sorting, check out life's address system, tackle a classification challenge, and wrap up by looking at some other ways of knowing. Let's get to it.
So let's start with this idea of a planet of puzzles. Seriously, think about it. It's kind of like trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle that has millions of unique pieces, but you don't have the picture on the box to guide you. That's pretty much the challenge biologists have been up against for centuries, right? Trying to figure out how all these different forms of life actually fit together.
And this really gets to the heart of it. It's so much more than just making some giant list. It's about understanding the connections, the histories, the whole fabric of life itself. I mean, how do you even begin to build a system that can handle not just everything alive now, but everything that's ever lived, and all the new stuff we haven't even discovered yet?
Okay, so here's the answer. Science. More specifically, it's this really elegant and super powerful system we call biological classification. And trust me, this isn't just about neatly putting things into boxes. Nope, it's an active, ongoing process of discovery that's constantly showing us just how connected all living things truly are.
So what is it really? Well, at its heart, biological classification is all about finding patterns. Scientists look at what different organisms have in common. Things like their body structure, and now even their genetic code, and they group them together based on those similarities. And let me tell you, our ability to sequence DNA has been a total game changer. It's revealed some really surprising connections we never would have guessed. It's basically the master filing system for the entire field of biology.
Okay, but why does this matter so much? Well, for one, it gives us a way to organize all of that incredible diversity. I mean, without it, biology would just be a jumble of random facts. Plus, it makes the huge job of studying biodiversity actually manageable. But maybe the most important reason is that it helps us see the evolutionary relationships between organisms. It's like mapping out the entire family tree of life, showing how we're all connected through shared history. A history that, thanks to genetics, is getting clearer all the time.
All right, so if it's a filing system, how does it actually work? Well, it's all built on a hierarchy. The best way to think about it is like giving every single living thing on this planet its own one-of-a-kind address.
Yeah, just like your mailing address. You start big with the country, then the state or province, then the city, the street, all the way down to your specific house number. Biological classification does the exact same thing. It uses these nested levels to zero in on any organism with amazing precision. And these are the levels. They're called taxonomic ranks. You've got kingdom at the very top. That's a huge group like, say, all animals. Then you go down the ladder getting more and more specific. Phylum, then class, order, family, until you get all the way down to the genus, and finally, the most specific level of all, the species. Those last two are the really important ones for naming.
And there it is. You take those last two levels, the genus and the species, put them together, and bam! You have the organism's unique scientific name. Like Homo sapiens for us humans. This two-part naming thing is called the binomial system, and because it's usually in Latin, it's like a universal language for scientists. It cuts through all the confusion of common names, so a scientist in Japan knows exactly what a scientist in Brazil is talking about.
Okay, so that's all the theory. But here's the thing. Classification isn't just about memorizing lists. It's a hands-on, active process. It's really about putting on your detective hat and using clues to figure out what you're looking at.
And for this detective work, one of the main tools scientists grab is something called a dichotomous key. Now that sounds super complicated, I know, but the idea behind it is actually incredibly simple. It's just a series of either-or questions that guide you step by step right to the answer.
Let's check out a really simple example. Imagine we have some mystery objects from a classroom. We'd start at step 1. Is it used for writing? If the answer is yes, we follow the path to step 2. If it's no, we head to step 3. You just keep answering these simple yes or no questions, and by a process of elimination, you eventually land on the right identification. See? Pen, pencil, book, or stapler.
And that is exactly how it works in the real world with actual living things. You know, a key for a tree might ask, does it have needles or does it have broad leaves? A key for an insect might ask, does it have 6 legs or 8? It takes what could be a totally overwhelming job and breaks it down into a simple, logical set of steps.
So, this scientific system is obviously super powerful and useful, but it's really important to know that it's not the only way people have organized the world around them. There are other incredibly rich and complex ways of understanding nature that come from totally different perspectives.
Right. The whole system we've been talking about, scientific taxonomy, is mostly about figuring out evolutionary history, who's related to who over millions of years. But what if that wasn't your main goal? What if you were more interested in survival, or how an organism functions in its environment, or its cultural importance?
A perfect example of this is how many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures classify plants and animals. Their systems are often built on this incredibly deep, practical knowledge of the environment. So an animal or plant isn't just defined by its ancient ancestors, it's defined by its role right here, right now. You know, practical questions like, can I eat it? Can it be used as medicine? Does it tell me that a certain season is coming?
What this shows is just a profound understanding of how the whole ecosystem fits together. It's a system of classification that's based not just on what something is, evolutionarily speaking, but on what it does and what it means within its world. It's a different way of looking at things, for sure, but it's every bit as valid and sophisticated. So when you boil it all down, here's the key takeaway. No matter what system you're using, whether it's the scientific one that traces back millions of years or an indigenous one that's focused on function, classification is something we all do. It's our essential, ever-changing map that helps us navigate and make sense of the absolutely incredible diversity of life on Earth.
And that leaves me with one last, kind of wild thought to leave you with. Imagine we find life on another planet, real alien life with no connection to Earth at all. Where would you even start? What clues would you look for? How would you begin to build a brand new tree of life from the ground up? It just goes to show you, the challenge of classification, well, it's pretty much as big as the universe itself.